Ghibli film from Hayao Miyazaki, the Academy Award-winning director of Spirited Away, comes an extraordinary motion picture event about the wonder of nature,
This is fantastic!
the power of friendship,
Don't let go of my hand.
and the spirit of adventure that lives over and under the sea.
Ready? Let's go!
Okay, the wonder of nature, the power of friendship, and the spirit of adventure. With these elements, Ponyo is among the films written, animated, and directed by the person I will be talking about today. For my informative speech, I will be highlighting the career of Hayao Miyazaki. Most of us in this class know who Walt Disney is, right? Thank you, Sierra. One of the most iconic names in animation's history. Well, for those who love Disney, I think you'll love Miyazaki, as he is dubbed as Japan's Walt Disney. He's known for his amazing storytelling and his, incredible drawing, which he does all by himself. So today I will talk to you about some background on Hayao Miyazaki, some of his works and the achievements to go with that, and some of the influence and legacy that he has left since he will be retiring. Well, he has retired after last year. Okay, but before I begin talking about the works and legacy, who is Hayao Miyazaki? Miyazaki is a world-renowned animator, director, and writer that was born in Tokyo, Japan on January 5th, 1941. He started out as a cartoonist for a studio by the name of Toei Doga Studio, involved in many Japanese classic Japanese animated films. From that studio, he quickly gained fame for his amazing drawings and the countless amounts of ideas he came up with for movies. And then in 1984, he founded, along with a couple of his colleagues, Studio Ghibli, the studio that's responsible for most of his films. In a recent interview with the late Roger Ebert, I don't know if he's dead or not, he cited two films that he saw from when he was 10, a Japanese animated film, and from when he was 23 as his inspiration for making films like Ponyo. Talking about Ponyo, which is one of the most recent films to come out from Studio Ghibli. It's about a little girl, half fish, who befriends a little boy as she transitions life as a human, kind of like Little Mermaid style. So, go ahead. This is Ponyo, Kiki's Delivery Service, Spirited Away. These are some of the great works by Miyazaki that has earned him countless awards with his great attention to artistic detail and profound storytelling. His style, basically he focuses on hand-drawn animated scenes. In fact, according to NoFilmSchool.com, Miyazaki draws thousands of frames by hand, not allowing more than 10% of the footage to be CGI, or computer-generated images. So he spends about 12 hours per day, total 4 years for one film. The common themes you'll find in all of his movies, some of them include strong female characters, misconceptions about the villains, love not war, and appreciation for nature, which is evident in all the three previous films that I just mentioned. And Rolling Stone puts it very clear when they said that whether he's telling a story about a girl lost in the spirit world or a teenage witch discovering her powers, he employs this universal theme that makes it easy for kids and adults to understand. Okay. With that being said, the drawings and themes, they all add up to his world-renowned films that gained him some of the most prestigious awards and some of the respect from the most acknowledged media outlets out there, like Guardian News, named Miyazaki one of the best directors in the world. They ranked them 8 out of 40. Mentioned him in the same breath as Tarantino, Scorsese, Wes Anderson, and the Coen brothers. Okay, and all right, so this is just him talking about how he draws most of his stuff. And with that being said, his amazing works and recognition from the news, from his awards, he's left a legacy and an influence on Western society as well. That's him winning the Lifetime Achievement Award, and that's just him just drawing. Okay, according to Andrew Mott of the Daily Beast, Miyazaki is often likened to Walt Disney. And he adds to that by saying that Miyazaki often doesn't like being compared to Walt Disney. That sentiment is very much common among movie buffs, as they both had a similar upbringing. They both started out as cartoonists, and then they ended up owning their own studios. Some of the influences that he has left on American culture, as Fast Company has cited, you don't just see Japanese anime on TV anymore. Miyazaki has made it easier for Japanese anime to transition to the silver screen. Pixar even loves his works. They were quoted as saying he is the greatest filmmakers of our time. When they're lost, they watch a Miyazaki film to kind of get some inspiration. And they credit that for Toy Story when they were stuck in the making of that movie. Go ahead. Okay, so you know you're a big deal when you have big names as Neeson, Faye, Blanchett, Damon, Betty White. That's Miley Cyrus's little sister, and another Jonas brother, which I didn't know existed. You know you're a big deal when you can get some pull for a kids movie to do voices for you. Go ahead. I wanted to show you a clip, but it looks like I'm running out of time. This is actually a Simpsons tribute to Miyazaki. It's pretty cool. You should check it out. It's just YouTube Simpsons Miyazaki. Next. That's Miyazaki with John Lasseter, the CEO or the head of Pixar. I don't know who that guy is. Go ahead. And just basically the gist of what everyone's clamoring about is Miyazaki or Disney, who's better? And go ahead. Oh, just a little added picture here. That's Guillermo del Toro. Go ahead. Okay, so to wrap it up, I have highlighted the Japanese animator Hayao Miyazaki's background, some of his works and awards, and his legacy overseas. And so if you haven't checked out his work, you should check it out because he's retiring. And I'd like to close by quoting Roger Ebert. If the name is unfamiliar to you, because while you love movies, you have not yet discovered that you would love his movies, which I think is awesome because most of us don't know who Miyazaki is. Thank you.
Is the one that is this the one about the little girl who her father is gone to the military and not come back? Okay, I was wondering. I was trying to remember the most recent one. That one. That's the last one. For real? It's like when you don't like the PowerPoint, like it's we're just trying to tell me when to take it off, so I was like, I'm just gonna do it.
Thank you.
It's simple.
That kind of good, except the beginning. Told you.
I saw on Netflix, I think. Is it Ponyo?
Ponyo.
Ponyo.
See, now I want to watch one of the movie things. I gotta watch Spirited Away. I didn't see that movie.
So patient.
In the car too.
I know.
I've been watching Ponyo like nonstop. It's awesome.
Stop.
So Jackie, share with us your thoughts.
The central idea I got was the career, well, the rising career of, I don't know how to say his name, Hayao?
Hayao.
Oh, Hayao. The strong points I would say is that you had a well-structured organization, showed that you did practice well, you had good eye contact and projection on you. I liked how you had an assistant. Bad part about it was I was kind of overwhelmed with so much information given that it was kind of quick for me. You showed the visuals very quickly, and then I wasn't able to absorb what you were saying and then looking at the visual. And then I didn't quite catch the transactions really well. And then your visual for like the first clip was really good. It grabbed the attention of the audience. I think it was kind of a bit too much visual that you had going on. You could probably cut some off because you didn't really need to have so much of him. Overall though, I liked your presentation and I learned something new about someone.
Okay. Yeah, and I think that the goal here is to introduce people who are not familiar with his work and who he is. And so I think you accomplished that pretty well. It did feel at the beginning in the purpose statement that it was a little ham-fisted. I mean, you even made reference at one point to the fact that you're giving an informative speech in the middle of your informative speech. That feels awkward. But we know what it is you're trying to accomplish. There's a reasonable preview. I did not see in the body of the speech the same organization that you'd set up at the beginning. And at the end, it sounds even less clear what the structure is because, you know, the works and awards, how's that different from the legacy overseas? That just sounds to me like it's all the same kind of information and it's running together. Once you get past the introduction of who he is and his origin in the industry, it feels like everything else just sort of is randomly inserted, and I think that there needs to be a little bit more structure to it. Even if you just did a chronological kind of presentation, identifying some of the films and accomplishments or the awards that went along with those films, it would feel a little bit more like it was making progress as opposed to, oh, and there's this shiny thing over here, and there's this over here, and this is really cool here. This, because it just feels like there's a lot of stuff that you're trying to get us into, and I understand that, that's part of what you're talking about is you want us to be excited and interested in the subject. But it's gotta have a way of developing. It's got to pull us in or give us a path through which we can discover this person. And you're not really giving us that path. You're just kind of giving us the background. And here's a lot to look at. And you need to pull us in and focus us a little bit more, I think. Yeah, I've got to agree with the comment about too many visuals. You've got way too much stuff here, and it's tempting because let's face it. He's a visual artist. That's the whole point that you want to talk about. I listened to a podcast like a week and a half ago where they spent an hour talking about their favorite characters from his films, and each one's making an argument for one, and it can't be the lead character. It can't be the, you got to, because they're like 24 characters in every movie, and they're all weird, and some of them are important, and they went through this whole thing and talked about it and all that kind of stuff. And you could easily get overwhelmed with all those sorts of things, and it feels a little bit like that's kind of where you're going to. If you had an hour, you could get away with that kind of stuff. As it is, you got to keep it a little bit focused. So you mentioned 4 films, but we only got a little bit of plot about one of them. So what's different about the films? Is it different? What's really different about the films, is it the characters, is it the story he tells, is it the way he animates things? What is it that makes him so influential and important and revered? That I think we need to get a little bit sharper focus on, and that's the thing that I think is missing here. I like the topic a lot, and I think you've got some good visuals, but you have way too many. You got to cut down, and you have to have a little bit more focus. All right, thank you.